This is the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Joseph Canelier and Kaleb Schweitz. This is Ultima Final Fantasy.
Oh, welcome to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy.
The first season, or the first new season.
Yes, the Ultimate Season 2.
I didn't change the
Final
jingles,
Fantasy
I'm sorry
podcast.
guys, I had no time.
Yeah, there wasn't enough time to do any sort of change, because obviously only one of us is musically talented, and that one was too busy.
Yep.
And actually,
Sorry,
you know
guys.
what? Even if I was musically talented, I don't think I could have had time this week.
I'm sorry.
Been pretty busy. So anyway, with this new season comes a new Final Fantasy, and we've already beaten it in all of its 2 to 3 hour glory.
I was under the impression, although I'm sure I was told the truth, I was under the impression that the game was 4 hours long, and then at 2:05 I beat it, so...
Damn. I think
That was wrong.
Yeah, I think my final was like 3. I went to the developer's room, though, and fought everything in there. So
I thought I explored everything, but I guess I didn't, because I hit no developer's room.
yeah, it's kind of this cool little area where you just fight the developers of the game. I remember Final Fantasy IV had the same thing, I believe. I remember we talked about it, but I don't think either of us found it as well, unless it was After Years that had it. I remember there was another game that we mentioned a while back in the show that had a developer's room, but I ran across it, and it was pretty fun. I don't know, it was solid.
So, is it just like the fights that you get in have to do with the developers, or what?
Yeah, they're like they're developers of the game, and you fight them, and then some of them give you items, and then they like say, "Hey, how's it going? I'm glad you're playing our game," and there's just like cheesy stuff that goes on. And one of the fights actually takes forever against the I think it's like the manager or something like that. His name is it's like the manager or something intense, and he's just this zombie dude, and you have to fight him forever. He's just relentless.
Lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty clever. I don't know. It was a lot of fun. I mean, you obviously finished it as well, and I think you started After Years, didn't you?
I did already start After Years. So have you not started After Years yet?
Nope, I have not.
Oh, that is too bad.
Yeah? I wanted to review this before starting something else so that I didn't possibly mix anything up, though the premise of After Years is pretty...
It's different.
Yeah, it's their children that were being born in Interlude, so I don't think I would have. Yeah, it seems pretty separate, but I don't know, it's so cool. I mean, how far in are you? How far into After Years did you get to?
Like 2 hours in.
Oh, okay.
I'm playing Cecil right now.
Yeah, I think it's broken up into like different chunks.
It was Cecil's son, and then it switched over to Cecil right now.
Oh, okay. Is he an old man? Or does he look the same?
I just don't have his little image next to his dialogue in mind right now. I can't.
Oh, okay. So you're not sure.
I know he's older.
Well, yes.
At the very least.
His son is being born at the beginning, or no, the tail end of Interlude. The beginning and the tail end really are about the same thing when it comes to Interlude, but yeah, I don't know. That's cool. I'm excited to get back to it. I found a lot of good music that I remembered from 4.
That's true. The music from 4, I do remember right now. I'm going into the complete edition again, which is what I played Final Fantasy 4 on.
Right.
And I'm just remembering just how smooth and wonderful that the complete edition is. I mean, it plays just like Final Fantasy 4.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I obviously played the PlayStation 1 port, so this is infinitely better thus far. I mean, the translation's really well done. The graphics are smoothed out, and
yeah,
I don't know, the combat's really cool too, and like the animations for spells and stuff, they're fucking awesome.
It's fucking sweet. I think it's the best version of 4.
Yeah.
I really do.
I mean, we haven't played the 3DS remake, but...
I've played with it. I haven't actually played it, no.
Yeah, do you have it on Steam or something?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Caleb's copy.
Oh, that's right, Caleb's copy of the game.
And Dylan's copy when he first got it. So, like, I'm familiar with it, but I'm not that big of a fan of the 3D remakes of the 2D games.
Yeah, neither am I. We're kind of on the same page with that.
But the 2D remakes of the 2D games...
Stellar.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Just the complete edition is fantastic. So mostly you've been playing Star Wars Battlefront, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I played a lot of that. Been getting really into it, and
you gonna be reviewing that for Nude Clan?
I think so at some point. It's
okay.
I want to do it with Cameron because him and I have been playing it the most, but he doesn't actually own the game. So I'm kind of playing it a lot now, and then at some point we'll end up reviewing it.
Okay. Well, if you guys want to know more about that, you can go to iTunes now.
Yeah, Nude Clan is on iTunes.
Our new show, Nude Clan, that's 2 words, nude as in naked, and then clan as in a clan.
Yes, agreed.
Clan with a C, by the way.
Yes, please. We don't want the K clans in here.
That is now on iTunes, so if you can go on there, subscribe, listen to our episodes that we have up, rate it, review it, that would be fantastic.
No, it's a pretty fun show, so I'm excited. And I know a lot of people on the forums a few people have expressed their concern for like the layout, and they don't want it to be pure Nude Clan. And I mean, as of right now, we've been adding a lot of content. We want all of our shows to be available from the site, but Ultima is the biggest show. Nude Clan is like nothing currently because it's brand new.
Currently, yes.
I mean, it has a broader potential base, but it's also more difficult to get that base built because of how broad it is. Ultima Final Fantasy, it's more of a niche, and we have a big audience for that. So the site's going to be Ultima Final Fantasy's site. Most of the content's going to be UFF.
Well, here's what's going to happen. It's still ultimafinalfantasy.com, and it will always be ultimafinalfantasy.com, but it might be a redirect at some point. So you'll type in ultimafinalfantasy.com, and it'll take you to whatever we decide that our main site's going to be. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to keep, Ultima Final Fantasy the way it is.
Yes.
And that's going to be the base site. So still go to Ultima Final Fantasy. All your shit's going to still be there. The forums have expanded, though, to include Nude Clan, to include the Godzilla podcast and the other podcasts you can find on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, except for Stitcher, because fuck Stitcher, and Super Sexy Swinging Fan Fiction, of course.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, the idea is just to have all of our shows in one area, right, and that way you can access it from any computer. It doesn't give you any sort of kickback from typing in Nude Clan. I mean, that's not cool. And neither is Super Sexy Swinging Fan Fiction. I'm sure that'll throw up some red flags.
Sexies.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
How many red flags would be?
But
sexy.
I don't know. Maybe if you're like one of our teacher friends that have like a 4th, 5th grade class, and you're typing in sexy.
The firewalls at the
that might cause
the elementary schools might be a little rough.
Yeah, so I mean, don't worry about it, guys. But it's still we're still got a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of things we want to do to kind of keep them separate.
Yeah, we want to have like different sections of the site, and we already have one for Ultima Final Fantasy. It's not 100% built yet, but it's pretty close.
And we'll be working on others for the rest of the shows that we have.
For the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Some other plugs, though. YouTube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. Twitter.
It's at UFF Podcast. It's normally me. Joe checks it sometimes too, but
that's true. And you can find me exclusively at Joseph DeGolyer. That's DeGolyer. You can go to Facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy, I do believe.
Yes.
Patreon. You can support us on Patreon. $1 a month gives you the episodes as soon as we're done recording them, which is usually about a day early.
Yeah. It's pretty solid, and you guys get any access to any new deals that we're coming out with, new songs, jingles, anything like that.
And you can also find me sometimes streaming Diablo. Kaleb streaming the Final Fantasy games on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy. And, shall we get to Interlude?
Yeah, let's talk about some Interlude.
Okay.
For a second I thought you fucked up and did After Years instead. Because to me, they're like synonymous, but then I registered. Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
Look at that, it's Darth. Haven't seen you in a while. And Kryn.
I can't actually read that name.
I can't see.
The blue is too dark.
Yeah, it's like fucking dark. What is that? BBN UK? Oh, okay.
Okay, thanks. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, we love the kind words, and don't hate us for the site. It'll get better.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I think it's better as it is, but
do you think
we
so?
Clean it up. Yeah, I think it's good to have all of our stuff online. I mean, Super Sexy didn't have a website.
My problem was with the real problem I know that Nude Clan would like possibly have a pretty big base. I mean, it's doing pretty okay in iTunes for being on there for 2 days.
Yeah.
But my problem was the Godzilla podcast was like 2 people were logging on into the forums, and it was like...
Yeah, and it wasn't enough content. And you want to keep the content interesting, so...
It wasn't, and I didn't want people to feel lonely on the Godzilla podcast, and I was like...
Right.
Okay, yeah, it's time to bring them all at one. And the other problem being that I didn't want to have to check multiple sites.
Yeah, that was one of the things I hated, too, because I wanted to kind of stir up some conversation with the Godzilla podcast.
All right, see you, Darth Jomu.
And by going onto that site, I have to remember that it's a separate site, log off, log into that one, and I just have a different persona on that show. It's a very negative version of me, but
well,
I mean, I can't change the crappiness, so whatever. But I don't know, it's just a lot more streamlined, and people can maybe be interested in other stuff too.
All right, do we have any making of for it? Interlude?
Not a fucking moment of it, dude.
Okay,
but I do have the story over arc.
Okay, well,
I wrote a page.
Yeah, okay.
I'll just plow through it.
Well, we're not doing news, but I think we should probably do questions.
You think so?
Yeah. Do a couple questions, I think. And we can prepare that after we're done with the interlude stuff, because I don't think our interlude discussion is going to be very long.
Well, I mean, the game itself wasn't very long,
yeah,
so
and if our discussion about the 2-hour game is longer than the game, that'd be...
I can't even fathom that.
I got like 3 things to say about it.
Yeah, that's no. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to pull up the Skype, because we got some Skype questions.
Skype,
from Robert.
Skype.
Robert Molt here. Let's see, where's that at?
Time to party. I'm so bored.
I know. That's that.
Can't wait to show off this new thong.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, Caleb, who have you been chatting to?
It's this troll.
Hey, Ultima Final Fantasy.
Oh, that's old.
Yeah, that is.
That's Bandrum. Always coming in, Bandrum. Always invading. All right, you ready? Let's talk about interlude. Yep.
Okay, you lead.
All right. Okay, so there is no information on the making of Final Fantasy IV
None
Interlude.
whatsoever.
None at all. I mean, essentially what happened is they wanted to create a port for Final Fantasy IV and the after years on PlayStation Portable. And in 2011, they did that, but they also threw in this added little feature, Final Fantasy IV Interlude.
Well, let's think about that. If you're going to sell a game that you've sold 1 million times on 1 million other systems,
yeah,
and some people are hacking their PlayStation Portables just to put old games on,
you got to make it new.
You have to add something, not just the after years, which is available on the Wii, which is of course
true.
The biggest console of the last generation, right? Was the
right? Yeah,
was
was the Wii by far.
So, like, how do you sell 2 games that you've sold before that most people have already?
Well,
who want it anyway?
Let me tell you. You create a 3-hour-ish
2-hour
added feature that connects Final Fantasy IV with Final Fantasy IV the After Years. So essentially, yes, I mean it's a 3D updated sprite version, same format as the Final Fantasy IV complete. The battle system is the same. The characters are the same, and the storyline's a little bit different, and obviously because it connects the 2 games. And you can play these independently of each other, which is really nice because I didn't play Final Fantasy IV, and in a lot of cases when you have added content like this, most games make you beat the game, and then you unlock the added content, which I was worried about at first. I was like, dude, I'm not going to be able to play this. Like, I'm going to have to go through 4 and do that, but thankfully they made it available for whoever.
So, are there people out there you think that have no idea what FF4 The After Years is?
There might be. I don't know. It's not. It's received mixed reviews.
This is what I know about The After Years. It was an episodic release of a sequel to Final Fantasy IV.
Right, and they released it on the...
That's based on the kids of the characters in Final Fantasy IV.
Right, it's and I think it was released on smartphones. It was a mobile game at first, is what I was reading up today.
Well, what I knew about it was when it was coming out on Wii.
Okay. So yeah, the Wii port. I don't know. We'll have to look into that when we get to After Years.
That's true, yeah, which shouldn't be too far away.
No, it's not. It's not going to be that long. So the story takes place about a year after the demise of Zeromus.
You know, the bad guy that you didn't know was a bad guy until the very end of Final Fantasy IV.
Bad guyception, bad guy. And Cecil has a dream where Rydia enters a crystal chamber, and we hear a random voice that says, "Finally, it has a new form." And then right before we find out who that is, Cecil gets woken up by Rosa. They then head over to Damsian.
How do you say that word?
Damsian. I say
Damsian.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I've fucked up on. I don't even know how to say it.
I call it Damasian, but I realize
right,
looking at the word, that is not how you say it.
I say Damsian. Damsian, maybe, yeah. In celebration of the castle's reconstruction, because it was wrecked before. We then cut to Rydia, who is readying to leave the Fey March. And that's the weird little, really awesome-looking area where her people hang out, the summoners. It's got the multi-tiered, and it moves around. It looks fucking awesome.
That place was confusing in FF4, and it was confusing in Interlude.
I love the way it looks, dude. Especially on the PS1 port, because it's so... It looks old. Everything about that game is like, until you get there, and it's like, oh, dude, they did some cool shit with the visuals here. So anyway, you...
I'd second that, yeah.
All right, so, yeah, we see her, and she, you end up gathering your shit and getting out. And then once Cecil gets to the celebration in Damsian, he meets up with Palamporum, Yang, and a few other people who we don't really give a shit about. During the celebration, a guard shows up and informs Yang that some of his monk brethren have been attacked on Mount Hobbs. Yang, of course...
Good old Mount Hobbs.
Yeah, Yang, being the honorable man he is, immediately goes forth to help his fellow monks. And Cecil and Rosa, obviously, will jump in and join him because they're friends of, overcome death, even in Yang's case. And, you go up there and you fight a giant bomb monster, and the monks then tell you that they are on their way to Damsian to inform Yang that his wife, Sheila, is about to go into labor.
Look at that, Sheila.
Aye.
We need Crocodile Hunter to return, but there's no way.
No, it's not going to happen.
Unfortunately, unless...
So yeah, this is where it really starts to...
Unless we find the key to bringing back people from death.
Yeah.
This is the first part in the game where you do a battle, I think, right? You only really, go out and fight in a couple spots.
Yeah, I mean, when you go to Mount Hobbs, you run into random encounters, and then you fight on Mount Hobbs. And then this is the first boss fight.
And I was confused whether or not going into this game I was going to be level 1 or something.
Yeah.
But you are actually level 35.
Yeah, you start off basically where you should have been at the end of Final Fantasy IV. This is as far as I can tell.
It's a little lower. I was level 70.
Oh, well, you left the game on to fight itself.
The levels, and it was level 35. I don't think level 35 was high enough for the fucking moon.
It might not have been. I can't remember where I got to.
Probably in the 50s.
It's weird because in one game you got Final Fantasy III where my guys are level 54, but I am way more powerful than I ever need to be in that game. But then Final Fantasy IV comes in, I'm probably 60s. So yeah, you're a little under level, but I was kind of surprised at that too, and I thought that was interesting that it would start you out, further along to where you don't really need character progression.
None of the random encounters are really difficult.
No, I just used Yang's kick move and just killed them all in one shot. Yeah. I did that over and over again.
And there's not a single difference between the FF4 battle system and the...
No, which is great. I mean, FF4's got a fantastic battle system, so it's great. So, once you return to Fabul and you witness the birth of Yang's child, Ursula, which is a horrid name, Cecil is appointed...
I think Disney's ruined us with that name.
I know, probably. Cecil is appointed godfather, and they meet up with Sid. Rosa and Cecil prepare to accompany the party to the sealed cave, but Rosa falls ill.
Why don't you go to Rosa? Why didn't you come to me first?
Yeah, and stays behind. We then head to the underworld and enter the sealed cave, where you find Rydia collapsed in front of the dark crystal. She's suffering from amnesia and doesn't really remember how she got there.
That poor Rydia. She always goes through shit, doesn't she?
Yeah, well, that's okay.
Always passed out. Always, people are burned before her eyes.
Yeah, her village is destroyed.
Rydia's had a rough time.
She gets the blunt end of the stick, every time. And anyway, so they head to the Tower of Babel, which has oddly begun to glow. And then this is where, well, a little bit before this, we jump to Edge, and we see him making his way through the cave that leads to the Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
And Edge is massively OP in this. He's by himself.
He's bigger and better than Cecil.
Oh, yeah, he's a monster in this fucking game. But admittedly, it's because they put him in solo, and he had to be able to sustain himself against enemies.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is.
But he's been practicing, and Cecil's been getting kind of fat this year. He's just chilling. So anyway, once you reach the tower, you encounter elemental monsters who, upon defeat, grant the power of the Eidolons to Rydia, who somehow, doesn't have them anymore. I don't remember if that's something.
So with the elemental monsters, I remember those were pretty easy guys to kill.
Yeah, they weren't tough.
Except for maybe Titan. Titan was a little difficult. But then, of course, you fight him again.
No, yeah, I don't think you fought them the first time. I think it was something else.
No, you fight them. You go to every floor. You hit a doorway. You fight them. Or you fight something.
You fight something, and then you get the power of that.
But that something is elemental. They're like these troll things, right?
Yeah. They're elemental beasts, and you fight them, and then Rydia, air quotes, gets the ability to summon the Eidolons based on the elements they used, and you eventually you find out that this Rydia that has no memory because it's not Rydia.
Dun dun.
And she turns around and attacks the party, and she actually summons the Eidolons that you just barely helped the bitch gather. And when the imposter summons Bahamut, the real Rydia arrives and brings Bahamut to his senses, allowing the group to defeat the woman. She vanishes before the party can deliver the killing blow, and then we see a cutscene where she announces to yet another unknown entity that the Eidolon system is complete. And then just vanishes. That's the last we see of her.
So the Rydia fight, or the fake Rydia fight, that was against the summons, and I remember 3 of the summons being pretty easy. And then Titan killing me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I almost died to Titan. His Quake move was brutal. Like that, I was like, come on, I haven't saved forever. No. You can't do this to me.
That was the thing. Yeah. That was the thing that was killing me.
He was a little rough. Like it was a lot of AoE damage, and it was pretty substantial to everybody.
There was also a demon door.
Oh,
that we didn't talk about.
Demon wall or demon door?
Demon wall.
Well, hang on.
There are doors also.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So once we get out of there, we see that little random cutscene where she tells him the Eidolon system is complete. We then cut back to Baron Castle, where Rosa reveals her pregnancy to Cecil. Everyone's pumped. They all want to pick a name. And then we get a cutscene where Cain, the awesomeness that was the weak-minded Cain, hears a voice call out to him. Dun, dun, dun. And that's it.
I don't think the voice calls dun, dun, dun.
No, it doesn't call dun, 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 but it summons
something
Cain.
About the Dragoon.
Yeah, it's some cryptic message. I'm assuming it's the same person that's talking to...
That was post-credits, though.
That was. You didn't see it?
I did see it.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, there were a few parts of this game that I found to be fairly challenging. When I got down to the underground and I was fighting those doors, those fucking doors were rough, dude. I ran into a point where the door would do that 9th dimension move, and it would just kill they would always attack the white mage.
Yep.
They had like a fucking hard-on for her, this poor little girl.
And you have one fucking Phoenix down.
I think I had 2.
Oh, you had 2?
Yes, and then I got to a point where they just targeted her and she died, and I didn't have anything left, so I was like, all right, well, I'll use a 10. And I bitched about this last episode, so sorry, guys. I know this is recurring, but this is so intense that I have to keep it going. I used a 10. It didn't res her. I used a cottage later, and it did res her. But before that, I was like, I might be able to get out of here without her. And every time I go into a battle, they would target the fucking black mage, who's the only other one that can kill these things, because he's the only one powerful enough with the like Firaga or Faragaja, whatever the fuck it is. Fraga move, and
fuck y'all move.
And he would just attack and kill. And I just could not do it. It was so frustrating. There was that, and then the demon wall fucked me up a couple times, I believe.
On the demon doors, I had issues with the first couple that I came across.
Yeah.
Because of those dimension moves.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just using... I figured out Faraga pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. Faraga's the way to go.
And so it was Faraga, and then one hit from Cecil would kill him.
Okay.
And so I would just do that. I would assign all that shit to them, like those characters. and then I would just press the select button and it does the auto battle.
Yeah, auto battle.
Which is the only way to keep sanity in this game, by the way.
It was pretty stressful. I was going through and selecting all the spells. I didn't turn on auto battle because I didn't think it'd be worth the time, but it is. And another strategy to the doors, if you guys are running into any problems, is just let Jim Morrison ruin the band by getting wasted on stage, and it'll eventually dissolve once he dies. But anyway, you can cast slow on them, and then their 9th dimension move, it takes forever to show up. So you can basically just wail on them until they die without having to worry about Faraga. But if you have the MP for it, use it. But yeah, so it was a little rough there, and then, I get to a save point. Finally, I'm like, oh, thank God. And then I just go forth, and then I run into the demon wall, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't heal, I don't have my mana, I'm kind of not in a good spot. And I remembered the awesomeness of Twincast when I was playing Final Fantasy IV. It was amazing, right?
Yeah.
It was worth the minute wait that it takes for that thing to queue up. And so I'm like, this guy is mine. I'm twin casting this son of a bitch. I do it, and they're just sitting there waiting. Everyone's getting wailed on. I had one of the guys. Was it Sid you were with down there? It was. I'm pretty sure Sid was part of the party. He was the one with the axe.
Maybe.
I berserked Sid and let him just go wail on it because he did the most damage. And those two twins were just waiting, and I was trying to keep people alive with Cecil's fucking weak Cure 1.
Mm-hmm.
Finally get down to the line, and I get the twin cast ability, and it's Comet, and I'm like, yes, this is going to be sweet. And it does it literally did maybe 100 damage. I was like, no, fucking no. And then
Faraga's doing 4,000.
Oh, it was 6,000 to 7,000 against the wall. It was his weakness. But no, yeah, and I was like, fuck that. So I died. Did my mana, used the 10, came back in, and then I was able to beat him the second time. But
Demon Wall was difficult, as he's
supposed to be. Yeah.
Every single time you run across him in a Final Fantasy, because he's not only a timed battle, he's also usually full of status effects, and he's rough.
And insta-kill. At least it's not 12's insta-kill, though, where it just crushes the party. It just one-on-one, just fucking insta-pounds. Still, though, the 1 in 4 was the worst fucking boss fight.
I like that.
Yeah, it was the worst boss fight up to that point in any Final Fantasy. Was that fucking wall? Do you remember that the first time in 4? That guy was wrecking shit. And this one's a little bit turned down, but you're also level 35, so
it's a little watered down, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they add one to.
It only took me one try because I did try Twincast on something else, and it was kind of weak.
Oh, you dog.
And I was like, no, this
you knew
of its
nerf.
So this is basically my setup for this and for the other boss fights in Interlude. Because I would auto battle the fuck out of the game, mostly having to do with its encounter rate is sick, which we'll talk about in a second.
Oh yeah.
I would have the white mage cast Cura on the entire party. So you press Cura, you press the back arrow button.
Yeah, and it does all.
And it does 300 life points to everybody. So if anybody gets hit, they're going to be up to the point where if the creature does an AoE, they're all going to be fine. And so that's kind of my thing to do. So I have the white mage do a Cura to the entire party. Then I have Cecil just attack. I have Palom, I believe, is the boy, right? I can't remember.
I can't remember either, dude. They're basically the same.
We're gonna assume that it's Palom. Palom cast Firaga, and that only became a problem on the Shiva fight. And then the Edge.
The Edge.
The Edge, the U2 band member. He I
don't even know that. You hate him, yet you know?
I hate that band, but yet somehow
You fuck.
People are going to stop listening to the podcast because I hate you too, but I'm sorry, I just can't stop.
I highly doubt that. I think there's a multitude of reasons they could stop listening.
I would have everybody else in the party basically attack, except for the white mage would press Cura, and then Palom would press Firaga. And then I'd just press the select button, and I would just usually wreck face.
All right.
The demon wall was a little difficult. I had to do some... living some raising and then there was a point where I went back outside. I think It might have been earlier on, but I went back and I bought Phoenix Downs from some dude.
Oh, yeah, I didn't buy any. I was gonna when I got out of the area with the demon wall, but...
Well, those doors were killing me like they were killing you.
That was the only thing, yeah.
And so I was... that's why I went and bought the Phoenix Downs.
No, I feel you.
I would only use it on the White Mage.
It was rough. Yeah, I mean... I don't know,
Luckily, the game gives you, like, ethers and shit like that, so you're never out of mana.
No, you're never out of mana as long as the mage is alive.
It's only a 2-hour game. Let's be...
That's why I didn't spend any gil. I'm like, I'm not going to go to town to buy Phoenix Downs. Are you fucking kidding me? It's just 2 hours.
I really wish, though, that the game didn't degrade your character. And what I mean
like
by
insulting
that
them?
is that I wish that they had... And I kind of wish this for after years, too. That they took your stats.
Oh, from 4.
From your 4 save file.
Oh, screw you. You just want that because you're friggin' cheap ass.
No, because it would be like a continuation of that.
Yeah, but after years is going to be a different thing. No, I guess while you're playing Cecil.
I'm playing Cecil occasionally, at least, so...
Well, he's gotten fat, though. Remember, he's gotten soft, and that's even further
So he
after.
just degrades 35 levels?
Yeah, dude. When you don't work out, you lose your levels. When you don't go grind.
There you go. All right, yeah.
When you don't go grind, yeah.
Too much cerebral work as a king.
Yeah, too much of that.
Not enough.
Too much of that wine.
There you go.
And buffets.
And prostitutes. And
oh, I'm sure. As we've read on Super Sexy, there's a lot of that going on.
You guys did have an FF4 episode recently, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. It was actually a double feature because one of them was super short.
So, auto battle is amazing for the random encounter rate.
Okay, I think I might have to set up my gambit, so to speak, for auto battle.
Well, it only works up until it doesn't, because there are bosses, and sometimes there are creatures that are like, you do lose gil if you run away, so you can't just run away from these guys. There are some creatures that'll be in the front row that will only take magic damage. I ran into a couple of those, and so you have to turn off auto battle for those and then fight them. What's ridiculous is that you need an auto battle, and that was ridiculous to me on the other FF4 also. But I used it anyway because it's there. I can't not use the auto battle function on the PSP.
I've used it
and if you need to know what auto battle is, it's just whatever your previous move was for your character, and if they didn't have a move, it's just attack.
Yeah, it's just memory. It's memory.
You press
is what
select,
it is.
and then the game plays at twice the speed, and it plays by itself. Doing those moves over and over.
Oh, see, I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to let the game play itself.
Oh well.
See, I'm actually in it to enjoy the game, not just let the game play itself.
I wouldn't.
I don't want to watch the game masturbate. That's weird to me. If you're sitting there and the game's...
you know what? I don't think there's much of a difference in just random encounters where you're just pressing the X button over and over again.
Well,
there's not really a fucking difference.
In one of them, you're playing it, and you can try different things out, and in one of them, your knowledge base is just stagnant, and the game's jacking itself off, killing its own created monsters.
Well, the boss fights you can pretty much never use just auto battle on the boss fights, though.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know. It's just I just don't see a point to playing it if I'm not going to play it. Plus, I mean, imagine
stay away from that select button.
Imagine a stream where that's happening. Would that even be entertaining? I'm just sitting there chilling at ×4 speed and just maybe it would. Maybe I could just go off on whatever. But I don't know. Maybe I will give it a shot. Just
don't press the select button if you don't want to be in heaven.
But no, and I'm fine with the memory though. I'm fine with that part of the auto because I use that in 7 and some of the other games where I just had certain commands that I wanted it to do every time, and in 10 you can do that as well. Where I know this boss fight's going to be rough, so I'm going to go in, I'm going to have them just do the same thing over and over again, and that's okay. That's not quite the same.
It's not quite the same.
But so I'll definitely use that function.
Usually there's some kind of AoE or some kind of status effect that always
hits you.
That always fucks you up in some way, and you got to deal with that. And so auto battle, it may speed up when you're just attacking. I have just gone back and forth on the auto battle, but it's the thing is that it is difficult not to use. In my mind, I used it on FF4 a lot with the random battles, and I will use it in the future with the random battles. But the encounter rate in Interlude and in After Years
is crazy.
Is disgusting. It's literally every 5 steps.
Oh, if that. I mean, there were times where I'd go every step and I'd run into a random bottle.
And I'm trying your random bottle. And I'm trying to remember if it was really that bad in FF4.
4 was a little heavy. I think 1 was heavier though. I think near the end of 1 is when we really got random encounter just punched in.
1 was bad on the random encounters.
Because I remember that was one of the big things that killed me.
3 was not bad with the version that we played.
Yeah, it was condensed because they couldn't fit as many enemies on screen, so they were less often but tougher.
4 had a shitload. I don't think 5's random encounter rate was that bad. And 6's random encounter rate is encounter rate is not bad at all. So FF4 is kind of like, for that Super NES stuff, from my memory, I guess it is the worst of them, but I'm not. It might just be that we haven't done random battles in so long that it feels like it's every 2 seconds.
Maybe. I mean, you got a good point there. We've been playing 14 for so long that we're used to seeing stuff. 13, we're used to seeing the enemies. 12, 11. It has been a long time since we had random battles, but I really like.
And even then, like the random encounter rate for FF10, not very often, and FF9, not very often. Remember?
No, yeah, they weren't too heavy on the random encounters.
Felt like you.
Although those games are easier though, they were not very hard. Final Fantasy IV was difficult.
That's true. Final Fantasy IV was a difficult
Final Fantasy V was difficult. Final Fantasy VI was easy, but difficult at times. And then it just gets easier and easier as time goes on. Except for there's always the Uber boss.
In general, yes.
There's always the Uber boss that is just going to be...
Except for 13.
Yeah, 13's different, though. It's ease in almost the same way as your auto battle is. You got the retry option, so it has an illusion of ease, but really it's a pain in the fucking ass. You just get the chance to restart, so it's awesome.
You don't have to start from way back.
Right, but the only time that really starts to bite you in the ass is when you're doing those like final hunts, or when you're fighting Bartandalus in any of his bullshit fights, and he's just like ridiculous, because then you get 10 minutes in and then you lose. So I don't know. I guess, yeah, it's for a long time it's been easier, and I think that's why the game throws more enemies at you in 4, is to kind of prep you for the pain that is the moon.
So you didn't play the complete edition of FF4.
No.
You played the PlayStation version. How are you feeling? Like, and I'm telling you, the Interlude is, and After You is, they're like the same visual and mechanical. Like, it's all the same as the FF4.
Okay.
Original FF4 on complete edition. How do you feel about its, I guess, mechanical functionality in things like the menus and the the battle system?
Well,
and how do you feel about its visuals?
Well, here's how I feel about not playing this version of the game.
What did I tell you?
But I kind of like, I don't know. I had
we all played the different edition of FF4.
We did. Caleb played the Game Boy one, or whatever the fuck, DS one, I think.
Yeah.
And I played the PlayStation 1 version, and then Joe played this one. I really do wish I would have played this one. The visuals are spot on. Everything's smoothed out. It just looks really good. It's quicker. The translation isn't all fucked up. There's not like lowercase words starting out the thing. Like, it seemed like some fucking temp agency did the translation for this shit on the PlayStation. Like, there was literally like found potion, and the F would be like lowercase. I'm like, the fuck, man? Like, you can't throw that in. Like, it was all sorts of weird. It just looked odd.
I would like to say, though, I did say Ted Woolsey was the guy in charge of the FF4 translation, and that's incorrect.
No, yeah, I actually looked into it, and he didn't get on until 6.
Well, he was on for 5, but 5 was never released.
Yeah, he'd never localized until way later.
And that wasn't his.
So now I feel like an idiot calling him a spoony bard over Twitter.
Yeah.
But, he's like, fuck you, that wasn't me. But he did have some awesome lines, though.
Ted Woolsey only has like 100 Twitter followers for some odd reason. And
that's probably why, because he's not
He needs more. You shouldn't
No, he's pretty awesome. He did a lot of great stuff. But, and the translation, everything is pretty spot on for this version. And the animations, like the spell animations, are awesome, and the little battle screen is even intense. Like a boss fight, you get like this little crack in the screen, and then it just like falls away.
It's fucking sweet.
It's like a slowed down version of Tens,
Yeah,
It's cool looking. And I don't know. I just really wish I would have played it on this version before. Although I'm glad I got the separate experience, but I wonder if that dampened it in my mind just because of the quick, let's throw it out with the fucking Chrono or whatever the one.
Chrono Trigger.
Is that the one that 4 came on with?
That's the one that 4 came on with the PlayStation. It's called Final Fantasy. Fuck, what is that disc called? Oh, you have it somewhere? I didn't realize you had it. Schweiss is going through his Final Fantasy games.
Chrono Trigger, yeah.
Well, what's the disc called?
Final Fantasy Chronicles.
Okay, so it was with Chrono Trigger, and it's called Final Fantasy Chronicles.
Yeah,
So somehow Chrono Trigger's a chronicle of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's came around the same time, I think, is what they did it. But yeah, I mean, I have all 9 of the first ones, except for 3 on PlayStation 1.
Chrono Trigger, we did this for one of our Final Fantasy games, making ofs. I think Chrono Trigger was... It was either going to be... I know it was going to be the next Final Fantasy game. I can't remember if it was going to be FF5 or FF6.
I don't know. I think it was 6, actually.
Oh, wait, because FF5, some of its stuff came from... No, that was FF4. Never mind. Because FF4, they were going to have another NES Final Fantasy game. And with the Super NES, they just decided to scrap that project and take some of the ideas from that game and then make that into FF4.
Okay, so it does make sense
Chrono
for it to
Trigger,
be with
I
4.
think, was probably proposed for Final Fantasy VI, and then they decided to make something different out of it.
Oh, okay, well, either way, that's what's included. And unfortunately, that version of Chrono Trigger is also a bad port, from what I've heard. Like, the translation's shitty. And I basically bought this collection for no reason, because I'm not going to play it.
No, you played it. You played it already. So you got your money back.
I played one game, yes, but I will play Chrono. I don't think I'm going to platinum, so to speak, Chrono, though, because there's like 16 different endings. That's not going to happen, but yeah, you know, I do fully support the complete edition of this game. I think it looks great. And I would even go with even a blind download of the Steam version. Even the DS remake, I'd probably say, is better than the PlayStation 1. Even knowing nothing about it, seeing some designs, it looks good. It doesn't have
your version of the PlayStation 1 version looked really clunky.
Yeah, it was, and it doesn't have the things we always bitch about in FF3. I will say this: it does not have the fat peg leg people. They look
there
proportionate.
There were some people on the forums that
yeah, I did misquote it. I said that 4. I assumed that 4 was going to be the same, but I was wrong. 3 is the one that has the weird, like, tiny feet and kind of chubby.
I still don't think the 3D version of 4 looks great.
I think it looks good.
Peg leg or not.
I think it looks good, but I do like the 2D. It has a certain charm to it, but it doesn't matter. I would still say get that version over the PlayStation 1 version, even though I've never even seen it, other than a few screenshots.
Okay, well, with your uninformed opinion,
yes,
aside,
it's very informed.
Soundtrack was the same as Final Fantasy IV. They do have different mixes, though, and you can go into the menu and change whether or not it's the original.
Oh, that's cool.
8-bit soundtrack or it's the updated soundtrack, which is exactly the same, just like
a little better quality,
slightly different instrumentation.
Oh, okay. The music was great. I mean, it was a lot of fun going back to some of those earlier pieces that we haven't heard for a long time. You know,
it's very nostalgic.
The underground theme, the underworld theme. I thought that one's always been one of my favorites in that game, and everything was just spot on as far as the music goes. I thought it was pretty good.
So Interlude's great if you've played FF4. You could just sit down for an afternoon and beat it. I mean, it took us 2 weeks for some reason.
Well, it didn't really take us 2 weeks. We've been doing other stuff, but it's literally a day. I would kind of recommend it if you have it. I wouldn't buy the complete edition just to play this, though. There's no way.
Right. All right. Well, I think we got time for some questions at least.
I think we can answer a couple.
Okay.
But first,
all right, I'm just gonna stop it. We can put the questions jingle in.
We will administer the Twitch love
a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Yeah. Hey, Chocobo Chica.
Oh, what do we got?
We got Crenitol. Oh dear Lord, what have I clicked on? I don't even know anymore. I'm out.
That's fine.
All right, well, fuck you. Okay. Unfollowed. Truth. Hope yins have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Oh,
love that drop. The fuck drop. Was Gingerbeard... Gingerbeard is one of the ones who got in with me playing Diablo.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so they might be a little confused.
Maybe.
This is a Final Fantasy podcast that we do record live.
Yes.
For the sake of half a dozen of our listeners.
That and for our own sake for YouTube
Thousands of
exploitation.
listeners. Usually about 4 people watch us on the Twitch.
Yeah. It's an interesting attrition rate, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's what we're doing. And any game we play, we're probably just going to stream from Ultima because it's so much easier.
Yeah, so if you want to check us out, it's Ultima Final Fantasy on iTunes. If you like Final Fantasy, if you don't like Final Fantasy, Saturday mornings might be just, not your time, I guess.
Yeah. That's probably a lot of it. I mean, the gaming community as a whole is a stay up late, don't wake up early kind of a deal, so...
Well, Crinitol, I started it after years, but Kaleb decided that he didn't want to start after years until the Interlude review was done.
Right,
for
so
some reason.
I'll start streaming that this weekend probably. I'll do a big stream on Sunday, I think. Pump out 4 hours or so.
Okay.
Get some content gone through.
Okay, you want to look through the questions?
Yeah.
We did the reality problem already.
Okay, did we?
Yeah.
What about this one?
Level system.
I don't think we did.
We did not do level system.
Okay.
It's up. We already did everything below that.
I don't know.
Because everything's in order on this new forum. So like.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Yeah, I love it.
Do this so we don't actually have to move shit anymore.
Okay, I'm not gonna do 2 from him because he's also the one that left us a voice message.
Oh, okay.
There we go. There's somebody we haven't seen in a while.
Man.
The masochist himself.
Okay.
Shaving his balls with glass and all this other shit. Good times.
That's 2 questions. You want to have a third one?
I got one. It's a Skype.
Oh, yeah, the Skype. Okay. All right,
Let's start off with the Skype one, actually. And I will throw the jingle up on the... Well, give me a sec. So I still have yet to organize this to the point where I can actually find my jingles.
We all need to come with
our own boards.
with an iPad with the soundboards on them.
That would be awesome if we all had our own drops,
If the
dude.
Patreon was awesome, we'd all have
We'd all have little iPads and our
little
fucking...
iPads for the drops, because that would make Nude Clan. That would make this show kind of fun, just be able to pop a drop in. Popping a drop.
That would be pretty awesome. I think that'd be great. Super sexy, same thing. Jake does a lot of work on drops, but his cord, his device, Kindle won't hook up to our fucking thing. He's got like a short in it or something. And
It's in his device.
I think so, yeah.
So you put headphones on to see if it...
It won't go through the mixer. Like, I connect it and I turn the channel up and it doesn't actually...
That's so weird.
I know.
You tried different channels?
Yeah, I've tried different channels, different chords. I think it's just his thing. I don't know why. He's able to do external speakers, but his internal speakers I don't think work. So the connection from the little port. Which sucks because he does a lot of fun little jingles like the hips one.
I was thinking we should do something with the corner of this room. Sorry, guys. We should do something with the corner of this room to soundproof it a little bit more so I don't have to do noise removal anymore.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like maybe cut off that. Get some sort of divide there so there's no noise coming from the kitchen.
Well, what we could do is...
Here, I'll move the camera so we can...
I was thinking use some of the Patreon...
That's what we have.
Use some of the Patreon funds and we can foam pad this section up to get rid of some of that echo that's there. And that echo is the problem that... I don't know, it gives us almost like a weird reverb when I do noise removal, and if you listen to it really loud, you'll hear it. I don't know, it's just like the quality is just a little bit...
Yeah, either that or,
And then everybody needs the same microphones. We all need SM58s.
Either that or I can kick the freaking native out of here and we can just soundproof that second room.
Can't believe you said that.
Take a walk. No, it's okay. We do that kind of stuff all the time.
Take a walk.
Yeah. Go Andrew Jackson on his ass.
Oh. God, you're live, Caleb.
I'm okay.
No, everybody knows that you're a racist prick.
I'm not actually
people,
racist.
you know what? I'll save this conversation for later.
All right, you ready to get back into the show here?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what I'm saying at the end of that thing. I can hear my voice going, oh.
I think you were like laughing because that was the time I hammed it.
Oh, wait,
I
said, oh, that's great, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, what's also great.
Oh, that's great.
What's also great is someone actually used our phone line.
Yes, and we keep forgetting to fucking plug the phone line. It's 385-204. I mean, we're paying for it, so
yeah, we're
probably plug it. But it's 385-204-3921. That's 385-204-3921. Leave us questions and leave us introductions for the show.
Yeah,
we've only ever had one introduction. So
it was hilarious. So
it was awesome. I do recommend or ask of you guys to give more introductions because
it's cool. It's nice to mix it up.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into this.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Robert Molt. I thought it would be of interest for you guys to dissect your FF rankings in 2 additional ways than you currently do. I would think this would actually be of interest for a whole show unto itself. The first major way to dissect your rankings would be in terms of subdivisions. All of your rankings of the games could be divided into categories. What is your ranking for the best stories among the FF games? What are the rankings for which game has the best characters? Combat system, music, art design. I believe this would be very interesting, as overall rankings are heavily biased by which of these matter most to the person giving the rankings. For example, my overall ranking of the games personally is 7, 8 or 10, tie, 12, 4, 6, 9, 5, 1. But that's because for me, the stories and characters matter disproportionately. Titus annoys me a lot as a character, such that FF8 is actually competitive with FF10. They both have similar plot problems to me. FF6, commonly considered one of the best, is not so great to me because 50% of the game follows no real story. After the amazingly touching scene of Soleil's in the World of Ruin, there is no real story. Each individual character has a mini subplot, and there's a lot of side questing, but I can't really say that anything happens in the World of Ruin other than you find your characters and you kill Kefka, who, by the way, has no motive other than being an insane clown. But if you ask me about gameplay, meaning mostly the combat system, my ranking would be 6 or 9, tie. 7, 10, 4, 12, 5, 8, 1. Now the games near the bottom of my list are near the top. 6 is unmatched in giving you a real incentive to use all the characters in combat in places like the Phoenix Cave, and none of them are bad. The method by which skills are obtained in FF9 through the armor and weapons is strategic in that you can not necessarily learn you can't use all of the abilities because there's a limit of the number of gemstones of each character that you can assign. By contrast, FF8 is now near the bottom of my list because it has a terrible combat system for all of the reasons Spoonie has so very eloquently discussed on the internet.
Yeah, that's very true.
The other variable that I would be curious to have you guys dissect in terms of your overall rankings would be the magnitude of the gaps between the games. So, for example, FF7 in overall rankings is disproportionately hugely better than all the other FF games. It's way above the others to me. 8, 10, 12, and 4 are all really close. I really struggle with putting each of those on top of each other because they're pretty competitive. I would be curious to know how all of your rankings change in light of these 2 variables. Thank you so much for the wonderful podcast you do. You inspire me to want to do my own podcast about plot and story of FF games. Thank you.
You know what?
Thanks, Robert.
That is such an amazing question. I think we should do an episode on it.
You think so?
I do, because I feel like it was such a well
a well-rounded question.
A well-organized, a very in-depth question that I feel like it's almost a discussion point.
No, it is.
Maybe we should go back and look at our rankings, and I mean, we kind of did that on the last episode, but it's different. It's different what he's asking us to do, like rank them on gameplay, rank them on story.
Right.
Look at, the gaps, as he said, between the FF games in terms of quality. I would like to do that as an episode, so I'm going to postpone answering any of them.
Yeah, that one, I actually listened to that about a week ago.
Why didn't you tell me?
And
I've never heard this message before.
I kind of felt the same way. I mean, there's a lot of content there that we can delve into, and
it's questions like that are just like,
yeah, that's worthy of an entire episode. I agree. So yeah, we'll get back to that, Robert.
Let's do that. Let's do that next week.
That's a great question, though.
Why not?
There's a lot of depth that goes into that, and we'll have to dissect it piece by piece and throw together B-list and C-list rankings to all of our games for those various reasons.
But we probably won't play the thing on the podcast again. So there's the question.
Yes,
we'll talk about it, I think, next week.
All right, I could be down for that.
Okay.
All right, let's get into another question here. This one is from Batman. The topic is: you're on a deserted island with one FF game. Okay, if you were going to be stranded,
TV and console, of course, and a generator with tons of gas.
God, you're making it too much. All right, so if you were going to be stranded on a desert island and could only have one FF game, TV and console, of course. See, he had it. He's got his bases covered. Still no electricity, but we'll let it slide.
Is there internet?
What game would you like to have with you? Oh, that's a good point. Do you go with a game that has a large amount of content, like FF12, or do you stick with one of your all-time favorites and play it over and over? What would you take, Joe?
I think
non-MMOs, I say.
See, yeah, if it's an MMO,
it's either 11 or 14.
I don't think I'd be on that island anymore. I'd be like, I'd be on the chat going, help!
Guys, I'm stranded. Yeah, no.
And they'd be like, shut up, troll, you're not stranded.
Yeah, I'm fucking serious. But
you have a PlayStation 2 with the hard drive, and the only internet connection you have is through FF11.
Oh, that'd be
luckily, you have an account.
Yes. And your credit card has yet to be declined with the months you've been trapped on the island.
You got a pretty good max on the credit card.
Okay, so MMOs aside, which one would you be most interested in being stranded with? Just you have all the time in the world to play.
Well,
admittedly, I'd be working out, doing all sorts of other awesome stuff, and becoming a god-tier swimmer.
Here's what you would actually be doing instead of playing FF. You would probably be gathering food and water.
True.
But then I guess at night with your TV, electricity, and...
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez, dude, that's a hard one. What FF game would I... really willing to play for months on end?
My choices would be either FF5, because I'd want to explore every job and play around with every single combination of the job class.
Even then, I think that's about 40 hours of gameplay.
I don't think it's that few.
I did everything in FF5 except for level up everybody.
No, the jobs, they take a lot, though. To get our guild toss, we had to do like 300 battles. If we're talking every ability for every character, we're talking a lot of time. That's a lot of grinding, though. But it would be fun to explore the different combinations within the jobs. So I think that's why I would say 5. 12 has a lot of shit to do.
Has so much stuff, yeah.
You could fill out the bestiary. You could go do all the side quests, get all the chops, get all the hunts. We're talking 130 plus hours. FF10's the same way, but the minigames in 10 are atrocious, so you wouldn't want to fucking spend that much time.
I think I would... F10's minigames were a little better. I would have 10. I think I like the story in 10, I think, the most. And maybe after so many times of replaying a game, I'd rather have cutscenes than reading to do. I'm trying to think of on the 6th month of being out there.
Okay.
Playing the game for the 12th time or whatever.
True, yeah. That you got to have something that you're willing to just keep going with.
But then again, 12 does have so much shit you can do.
Yeah. It took me 130 hours, and I didn't actually do everything. There's still a few items that I don't have. Worm Hero Blade, the fishing minigame, I didn't touch.
Non-MMOs, There's so much stuff in FF12 I didn't even touch as far as like equipment and shit. I'm going with FF12.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll go with FF5. I think only maybe 9 though. 9 would be fun to go through and try to speed run to get Excalibur.
Okay.
Okay, so 5, 9, or 12. I'm torn on those three. They're equal. I'd probably have to say 9 or 12 though, because the grinding in 5 would be monotonous after a while, and I don't know how much of that I could truly handle. And 12 does have a lot of shit in it. Plus, the Worm Hero Blade is hilarious. It like makes little delete noises. Like
I'm gonna go ahead and go with the most content.
Okay.
Yeah.
13 has a lot of content as well, but even then, I don't think it's quite as much.
Yeah, but 13 is kind of a slug through some of it. So
true. The beginning is just like.
Yeah. I mean, 12 is just so massive in comparison to the other non-MMO.
Yeah, you could do like
games.
a playthrough of not using airships. You just walk.
Yeah, there you go.
I've actually thought of playing Final Fantasy 7 and 10 while walking instead of sprinting. Like you hold X in 10, so you go all slow.
That would. Oh.
You know, if you have months on end, I mean, fuck it.
Like, how can I waste my time?
Speed run without run. You know.
I mean, I guess I could try to get out of here, but I think I'll play a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, all right.
At an extra slow pace.
Yeah, let's see how long I can drag it out.
Yeah.
All right, that's kind of a cool question, but
that's crazy. Yeah, FF12 for me.
All right, fair enough.
What did? Oh, okay, you already clicked away, but
no, we can check and see what other people.
Yeah, what do other people want to do?
All right, second opinions here. Shinra says, if there is internet, maybe I choose 11 or 14, but if not, then FF5, just because it's fun to go through the game with different setups each time.
Okay, that's an interesting thing. I think there's a few Final Fantasy games you could say, let's do different setups.
You could, but 5 is definitely the most versatile. I'd say Cloud says FF7, the characters and story are so rich, they inspire the imagination, which is what is most important. I enjoy thinking about the world before and beyond FF7. This way, the game is a catalyst for the rest of his time, rather than just playing the game itself. It's also easy, too easy. I can see myself coming up with successively more moronic handicaps. His one criticism of 7 would be its difficulty. Yeah, it's a very easy game. I don't think FF12 is a great answer. Oh, he thinks FF12 is a great answer too, though given its gameplay and diverse world, he feels like FF12 gets nowhere near the love it deserves.
Okay.
I agree, but yeah, that's a lot of content. Let's see what Gabranth says.
As much as I love 4 and the after years, I would probably go with either FF6 or FF Tactics.
Oh, Tactics is another one you could do.
Just based on pure fun.
Tactics is another one you could do a ton of different shit with.
So you could play FF6, and then when you get to the breaking of the world and Celis is out there about to kill herself, you could just be reminded of what it's like to be on the island.
Yeah, you're like, I can relate. You would relate on a very deep and personal level.
I should go find a cliff.
Yeah.
Only this time I will die.
No, you just wake up on the beach like, oh, fuck.
God damn it.
All right, so Chica says...
I would like to... Okay, you know what? I want to comment on Cloud's thing, the message that they left. I assume it's Cloud.
It is.
That's the third act. Like, that's the beginning of the third act. You got your first act, which kind of sets your heroes out on the journey. Second act is the up and downs of the journey, ending with the ending,
the destruction of the world.
The destruction of the world, yeah. And then your heroes will then bring themselves up to go fight the guy.
Yeah.
And that's just the third act. And all the third, like, yeah, there isn't that much story because the story was in the second act. The third act is them going to fight the dude.
Yeah.
So they got to just do preparation, then go.
In regards to that, I have zero problem with how 6 ended.
Yeah, I had problems the first time I played the game of 6 where I thought, yeah, it did drop off a story, but this time around I'm like, oh, it's not actually midway through the game. It's like 2/3 through the game, so in a way it actually follows the 3-act structure.
That and it's kind of, you're picking up the pieces of the destruction to then go overcome the main enemy, which is in the act structure of storytelling. So it's not a big deal. I mean, it does technically fall off as far as content is concerned, but it serves itself well.
Yeah, I was okay with it. All right. Sorry, what was the next one?
Chica says FF10-2, lots of story and missions to complete. I don't know about the story part. It's fun to play, and maxing out everyone's dress spheres would take
I think
a
that
bit.
song would drive you fucking insane.
Probably.
What can I do for you? You can find me food and shelter.
Yeah, maybe some fresh water. Also, she's a beast at sphere break and could easily sink oodles of time. But he thinks Shinru makes a good point. With the online ones, you could at least interact with other people.
Well,
but,
yeah, and then try to get off the
right,
island.
and get off the fucking island. Because people would respond to that. Let's see. Credithal says that he's in the same mindset as Chica. He would pick 10-2 for the art style, lovely ladies, dress spheres, and most importantly, Blitzball. Endless hours of Blitzball. You know, if they fixed Blitzball, I would actually be okay with it. If it was like playing NBA Live or NBA Jam, or especially NBA Jam or like Street, it's just like this vicious fucking crushing each other, blood coming out, you like KO the characters, it'd be fun.
In all honesty,
The reason why it's not fun is because it's a 3D orb in a 2D plane, and you can break the game. The stats, it's too RPG-esque. It needs to be more action-based.
Okay.
And I think it'd be fun.
I stick by my FF12.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think so, too. I stick by 9 or 12.
Okay. All right. And
got
our
one.
last question?
One more here. This is from Cloud as well. What leveling system do you like best?
Oh, shit.
FF1, gain a level, strength goes up, magic...
The stats go up.
Oh, stats go up, magic independent of levels. FF4, gain a level, stats go up, magic goes up. 5, gain a level, stats go up, earn job points. 6, gain a level, stats go up, magic goes. 1, 4, and 6 have basically the same, and 5 is a job class. Okay, that's true.
Okay.
7, blah, 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 like 1, 8. Seed
Test
test.
your seed level.
True, that's basically the only thing that gets better.
That's great.
Yada yada. He explains the rest of them. Which do you like most, Joe?
My favorite level up system?
Yeah.
You know, each game does it based on the game that it's in, and it always seems like it's like in place.
Yeah.
I don't like equipment stuff like with the license board with FF12 or anything like that, or leveling up equipment, or just changing equipment.
What about equipment in 9?
I actually think equipment in 9 is almost the way to go, but 9's system is pretty close to FF6's system.
No, it is. 9 is just an advancement of 6's, I would
think
say.
FF9, along with FF10, except I don't really like you can screw yourself over by putting the wrong things on a weapon.
For what one?
You know where you had like the different things you could put on your weapons? You know, if you want to do like massive damage with your weapons, you can do some brain farty type stuff.
In 9?
In 10.
What are you talking about in 10?
Where you put the abilities on the weapons.
You don't do that in 10.
Or on the armor. Yes, you do.
Oh, no. Oh, you're talking not on the... No, you can do it on certain weapons. Yeah, but you can buy husk weapons.
I like finding weapons and then finding the right ones for the characters. So I don't like that kind of section. I know you like all that shit. I kind of like the simplicity of FF9.
Okay, so you like having the weapons with their abilities.
Yes.
Okay. You know, and most of the weapons I used in 10 were that way.
And part of the level up system, I realize is not technically the level up system, but it is a way for your character to kind of move up in his ranks.
Yeah. No, sorry. I for a second I thought you were like forgetting about the sphere grid almost, because you said that you up your stats with the weapons. I'm like, and you do. There are weapons you can like increase damage and
I like a classic
like that. So,
level up system. I like FF9's level up system.
All right. I think 9's
out
solid.
of the series. I mean, FF5 is also great, but it'd be hard to pit the two against each other because they're really different.
Yeah. Well, see, on the other hand, I do enjoy the FF12 stuff. I do enjoy having multiple ways to level up. I like having a stat increase and then also the ability to go on the license board and increase my strength even more. I really like that, but it does fall flat on its face when it comes to the purpose of weaponry. I think if the license board were purely a stat thing, we would love it. If we didn't have to buy licenses for weapons, if it was just stat increases, it'd be awesome.
Oh, then it'd be like the sphere grid, almost.
Yeah, it essentially would be the sphere grid. And there's not really that much wrong with the sphere grid. except the fact that you can break it later on and just become shell characters. Everyone's the same.
My problem, and it's a small problem, and I think it works for the game that it's in.
Yeah.
You know, those games that it's in, because the game's kind of built around that's whatever system it is that he lists off a whole bunch of systems here. I think the games are built around whatever that system is, and thus, you know, it feels right. It usually feels right, unless it's FF3 with its fucking switcheroo on the battle shit.
True. Or just completely broken like 8s.
Yeah, or broken like 8s. You know, it feels right for those things. It feels right for those things, but I don't like leveling up in FF12 and it being such a tiny, almost forgettable stat boost.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Your weapons and your armor have so much more to do with the damage that you're doing and are able to take than the leveling up. That bugged me in FF12.
Oh, okay. So you don't like the pen and paper RPG style, which is what Diablo and FF12 are. Because if you remember,
Diablo's more simple about it.
Yeah, but it's very similar in that regards to the stats based on your weaponry. I don't know. I kind of like both, and that's why I think I'm gonna go with FF12.
I want the levels to matter.
They do. You gain a couple levels.
Every 10 levels matters in FF12.
I was able
one
to
level up, you don't feel it. Like,
I was able to
feel it in the area that you're in.
I was able to get out of areas. I like an area that was literally kicking my shit. I would level up twice, and I'd be able to get through just fine. Of course, I knew where I was putting the license points as well, so I was adding more on top of it. Maybe that was part of it, but I don't know. I think after playing through 12 multiple times, I think that's the one I would like to go with. But it's really close to 5.
Okay.
I think FF5 is fantastic too.
All right,
9 and
I respect.
We're blowing those 3 games today. Like every question's like, oh yeah, 9, 12, 5.
Okay. Well, I think that's going to be it for questions. I think that's going to be it for today's episode. Since it was a review, I think we're going to forego some of the other segments.
Yeah, the reviews and stuff.
But it was a short review, so we added some questions at the end, at the very end.
Yeah, kind of getting back into it. It's been a little while since we've had question answering with the Final Fantasy 14 forever.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The UFF podcast awards and stuff. So
I'm excited for next week's though. I'm excited to answer all that guy's questions.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to really sit down and dissect it and
think
one
about
by
it.
one.
Like the list is so important. The rankings are so important.
But I agree. There's a lot of
for people like me and you. I think like there's something about lists and rankings that's just like
it's appealing.
So exciting. I don't know.
It's hot. I don't know
it's crazy.
How else to describe it.
And I realize it like doesn't actually mean a thing.
No,
but
at the end of the day, it really doesn't. But I mean, it
does start a conversation.
No, it does, and it gives meaning behind why we rank things the way we do. I mean, we put all of those things into account, and that's when we're throwing these games in this difficult lineup of best to worst. You know, why is it best? Why is it worst?
Okay.
Yeah, and you guys will actually get to hear it next time. So
here's a reminder, guys. Go check out if you like Godzilla. You gotta check out the Godzilla podcast. That's wherever you get your podcasts. It's gonna be there. And then also,
I've got a erotic fan fiction podcast. It's a lot of fun. We just read most of the time horrid.
You make fun of erotic fan.
No, we make fun of it. Yeah, I don't know. You get a taste for it after a while.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm kidding. I don't actually. It's kind of. I mean, we are critiquing it though. We're like, oh, this is solid for this reason. Yeah, it sucked here. But we got that, and then we also have our 4-man gaming podcast. That's Nude Clan. It's a lot of fun. We go over a lot of stuff, and I actually really enjoy doing that show.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to catch this show up, but I think Nude Clan is a solid show.
Yeah, it's great, and we're going to be recording that here in a little bit. So
we are.
And eventually we're going to start live streaming that too, but we'll let you guys know when the time comes.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, you can find this show being live streamed on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy every Saturday. We try to start around 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So whatever that is for wherever your neck of the woods is. You can go to youtube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy and find us there. Twitter @UFF Podcast, and you can find me @Joseph DeGolier. That's JOSEPHDEGOLYER.
Check us out on Facebook. It's just facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. Donate some of those hard-earned dollars on Patreon, and we'll make it worth your while. It's
Well,
Just search us at Ultima Final Fantasy. There.
all this equipment that we're using right now was paid for by
not all.
Patreon, except for the microphones.
The most expensive aspect of it, no. The mixer actually might have been close. I think it actually was more. But
it was more than a single microphone.
Yes. That was paid for. All of the new site stuff, all the fun stuff that we do.
I think we need to get a new table.
Yeah?
Yeah. This table's rickety. I'm not sure if the audience can hear this.
Yeah, tell us if you can hear it. That's our question from us to you. Can you hear my table in the episodes?
Because, I move around a lot, and it's like, squeak.
Yeah.
Squeak.
It's weird. But, yeah, no, there's all sorts of stuff that we're trying to upgrade, and that all helps out. And then all the awards we do. And
we don't pocket any of the Patreon money.
No, sadly. But yeah,
we've agreed not to.
You can find our channel on YouTube as well. It's youtube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. I'll upload as many of the videos that Twitch will let me because they're fuckers and they have all these fucking errors when I export, and I had to do it like a million times. So you might be able to see some of my Let's Plays on YouTube. You might not. It just kind of depends.
All right. So ultimafinalfantasy.com. Join our forums.
Yes.
It's awesome.
And as always, until next time, you guys. Enjoy the grind.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show was produced by Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGolier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.
All right. Welcome
Have I ever
back.
thought of a Discord for Nude Clan? What does that mean? You scrolled away.
Sorry. Hang on. Where were we before? Poor Dwayne.
The bottom.
I don't know. Ox to Ox doesn't work. Ox to red and white.
Ox to Ox should work.
No, I know. I pull one of these out, I plug it in there, and I throw the Ox in. It doesn't work. It's fucked up, dude.
Because that's a stereo. That's a stereo quarter-inch dealio. And the aux is also stereo, and it should line up. That's what it's for. That's how these fucking headphones work. So I don't know why it doesn't. That's crazy.
Oh, cool. Gingerbeard says he would do FF10 too, so we can fap to the cutscenes. That's awesome.
Okay, that's...
Granitol says he's doing the FF5 stuff right now, and it's pissing him off because he's trying to get the 999 Red Mage spell double cast, which that's how many battles you have to do to get double cast, which is sick.
Jesus.
Oh, you can bypass cutscenes in 9 by opening the disc tray to do the speed run. That's cool, Roxo. Also, welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while. At least I think. I don't know. Until you get to filling out Shinra's bestiary.
And want to blend your brains out. I'd rather pick FF9 or 10-2.
Blitzball 2017 on PS4.
Oh, no! 13 sequels can be played tons of times. Well, I haven't gotten to them except for FF13-2 a little bit.
Oh, really? I haven't touched a second of it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's even worse than 10-2? Are you kidding me? How the fuck can it be worse? Oh, God. It's like going from Madden to Madden head coach. Oh, dude, no. That's sick. You don't even play.
Good thing I gave some coins, put them into the squeaky table. Sorry.
We just literally just squeeze it in between the joints so it doesn't make any noise.
I was thinking we get a table that's like lower, and then we customize the table to fit a mixer.
So it just chills in the table?
It's like sunk down into the table.
Oh, that way the cords have less pressure on them.
We have the cords. There's like a... Okay, imagine a 2-layer table. And so, like, we get a table that's a little lower so that we can put, like, 4 inches of room here above it and, like, felt the table so that it doesn't make
Yeah, soundproof it.
Yeah, we soundproof the table a little bit.
Ooh, felt. I love felt.
We put these little openings where, like, you know, like at the university where you have places where you can plug in your laptop because it flips up.
Yeah.
We have a flip up part where the auxiliary cables can go through. And then we just have the only things that's sticking out of the table is the microphones, and then there'll be where the mixer's at, you can at least turn the knobs.
This sounds like Table 3000 is what we need here. It's like the sweet flyover, flyby commercial for it.
Considering that we're in this
3000.
for the long term.
Yes.
Well,
I mean, considering...
I don't think that would be such a bad investment.
True. Considering that, I mean, demolishing or creating a soundproof room would also be a good investment, but I can't do that yet. All right, sweet. Yeah, we could probably do that.
We can sound treat.
Oh, they can hear it. Fuck. Yeah, thank you very much for the coins, Jamu.
I said that.
I know. I didn't acknowledge it, though. Hey, Gabranth just finished up. That's FF5 downloader. Okay.
This is the administrator of Pornhub.
Discord. Oh, yeah.
That's funny. Okay. Well, thanks, Zap.
Yeah, thanks, man. I will have to log in and...
Don't worry. I'll be on Pornhub soon.
10-2 opinions, just an opinion's memory of it was that it had a better skills and more players to recruit. Okay.
All right, well, is that going to be it?
I think so. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and we will see you again 7 days from today.
7 days.
7 days.